So, the first thing that I ask whenever I make this rant is, why do you need a Midas? What situation do you ever need a Midas? So, basically, there are not many mobs you can fight in the game in hypixel skyblock, but there are a lot of weapons. So, there's a few weapons, and there are 3 Slayer weapons. This being the Pooch Sword, the Scorpion Foil, and the Rev Falchion. So these are all good swords for their task. Now that the Scorpion Foil was buffed, it's actually better than the 50 mil Midas for Spider Slayers, which it was only barely better before. So now that it was fixed, it actually is much better, and you can deal up to 100k in legitimate hits with the Scorpion Foil. So that's awesome. But what is the 50 mil Midas good for? It's really only good for killing mobs that are not Slayer mobs. So what's the highest health mob in the game that isn't a Slayer mob? It's the Enderman. So yeah, if you can't one-shot Zealots, your best bet is to use a 50 mil Midas to kill it. But the thing is, if you get enough talismans, you can use literally a Raider's Axe to destroy Zealots. So why would you want to go overkill against Zealots? And that's where the final thing comes. The dragon. Yes. The dragon is the only reason to have a 50 mil Midas. If you think about it, why else would you have a 50 mil Midas? You want to do revs? Use a Falchion. Want to do wolves? Use a Pooch Sword. Want to do spiders? Use a Scorpion Foil. Want to kill Zealots? Get some good armor and use a Raider's Axe. So you kind of see where I'm going from here and why it kind of sucks. So one thing we do know is that it is good for dragons though. So that is one of its benefits. So yeah, let's think about it. So it's good for dragons, but is there any other alternatives for dragons? Well, not really, but after the new pets update, it's kind of become obsolete. Yes, the 50 mil Midas has literally become obsolete almost. So basically, if you see right here, I have an aspect of the dragons pretty maxed out, not level 6 enchants, but still pretty high, and it has a good hot potato book and everything. It doesn't compare to the 50 mil Midas, but its damage is still pretty good. So one thing is, in the pets update, they added a new pet. This pet is the dragon pet. So I don't actually own one, but my co-op member does, because we bought him one because he's got an Enderman pet, and the legendary Enderman pet is kind of useless compared to the Ender Dragon pet, so he sold his and he got the Ender Dragon pet. So even I can look right here. So the only difference between legendary is that they don't have the superior thing at the end. So we have an epic one, and basically you can see that on the second ability, one with the dragon, it buffs the aspect of the dragon by 0.5 damage and 0.3 strength, and it gets better every time. So after doing the calculations, a maxed one actually is better than a Midas. So why would you use a Midas? The one thing I can think about why using a Midas is maybe because of a different pet. So say in the update in dungeons, you're going to be in a new lobby. You're going to have to fight someone, and let's say the sheep pet, you really need that XP, but you also need a lot of damage. you need that extra defense or extra mana or whatever, I don't really remember. But you also want to do a lot of damage, and it's a new mob, let's say a skeleton boss. So now you don't want to use your AOTD because you need to have that sheep pet out. So then the actual best weapon for that situation is the 50 mil Midas. But otherwise, it isn't. It really isn't at this point in the game any good. Even if you look, another ability of the Ender Dragon pet is the End Strike. Deals 0.2% more damage to end mobs. Yeah, it literally is giving you more damage against the dragon, which is the only use for the Midas. So you kind of have to use it if you're gonna do dragons. And if you watched almost any YouTuber doing dragons as of now that are slightly rich, they're all running a dragon pet. None of them are running anything else when doing dragons. It's basically the dragon for the max damage. So even as of now, if you want to do top damage, it is AOTD with Ender Dragon pet. But there is one exception, and that's the Emerald Blade. So if you're extremely rich, you can use the Emerald Blade, and it is pretty good. But to really get the cap, you have to get about like 2.8-ish bill. I don't know the exact number, but you have to have more than 2 bill to actually max out the damage. But around like 300-ish mil, it actually becomes better. I don't know the exact number for that either, but it does become better. But you're going to need a lot of money for it to actually be viable. And the thing is, you can never use that money or it won't be viable. So that means you have to have 300 mil that you're just going to keep in your bag forever. So yeah, that's one thing that the Emerald Blade is bad at. And you probably have to have a piggy bank on you at all times, so you never lose that money. So that's also some of the drawbacks of the Emerald Blade. But if we really think about it, it's 100% the best sword in the game. It really doesn't have that many drawbacks. Those things are pretty trivial, and if you actually like try hard in the game, it probably. So now, what should they do about it? So, in my opinion, they should not nerf the AOTD. I feel like it actually deserves to be this good, because in the total price, you need that 50 mil for the Ender Dragon pet, and another 5 mil for the AOTD itself. So it roughly goes around the price of the 50 mil Midas, but with a bit of grinding, it gets better. And the only way to kind of exceed it is it's not even exceeding, it's just getting close to the AOTD, and that's through the use of buying an Ender Dragon pet to use with your Midas, which at that point is over 100 mil, and it's still just under the power of the AOTD, which is actually kind of stupid. So instead of nerfing the Midas, what I think they should do is they should probably find more use cases for the Midas, because right now the Midas has no use cases, which is kind of why it's so useless, basically why this video was made. But yeah, that's one of the big ways you can do it. They can also make pets more viable in the updates, because really that's kind of the buff that it gives to people running 50 mil Midas, is that you can buff it with another pet. So basically people can run a different pet, while if you want the highest damage on your AOT, you always have to run the Ender Dragon pet. So that is something I think could possibly help the Midas in being better. And the final thing really is that is make higher tiers. Well, I know it's pretty controversial to like the thinking of making higher tiers to the Midas, but at this point in the game, 50 mil is not too hard to reach. We have over 500 mil in items maybe just by playing, but we played for a pretty long time, so it's not that unusual. But like in our bank we have a good 30 mil, so it's not unusual to think that the 50 mil Midas is becoming a little too easy for players to achieve, because before it was extremely hard to achieve, but now it's actually not that hard. It's just mostly the people who don't have 50 mil Midases that are good just choose not to waste their money on it. They could if they wanted to, but they just really didn't want to, like me, for the exact reasons I stated in this video. So maybe they should make a higher damage one. So you pay up to 100 mil, but it will be better than the AOTD one. So when you use AOTD with the Dragon Pet, that gives you more damage than the Midas with the Dragon Pet, which is kind of stupid, to be honest. And the Midas with the Dragon Pet costs 100 mil, and it costs even more than the AOTD with Ender Dragon, yet it sucks compared to the AOTD with Ender Dragon. So probably instead of spending your other 50 mil there, you should be able to spend your 50 mil in the DA and get extra damage to out damage the AOTD. I don't think it should be too big. I think it should actually drop off in damage around there. So I think it should start going down in damage. So like every time you upgrade another mil from 50 mil, it goes like, it starts off at like, let's say 20. This is just hypothetical numbers, but then the next one is 19, 18, 17, 16, like that for every mil, so that it's not too overpowered, but it still gives a reason to buy the Midas. I feel like since the pets update is still slightly recent, people have not realized it, and some people are too attached to their Midas swords to actually leave them. So I think you actually have to make a use for it, because for most players who just are basically competent, they know not to buy the Midas. So yeah, that's basically all I wanted to say, and thanks for watching.